All right, guys. I tell you what, I've been on a lot of different shows, and not once have I had the opportunity to break something really, really exciting with Insert Here. I mean, this is probably the biggest news I've ever had to release. I'm
Oh,
really.
hey, Rob, hold on. I'm getting a message. It's from the
Oh,
producer.
Glad to see you got my message. Here is your random task. Science fiction in board gaming has been around since Stargard and before. Show me how the genre has improved. Present the best science fiction game in your collection.
Random task. Show them what you do.
It's a random task.
I think I got it.
I got the winning rat cheer.
I'm back. I got mine, suckers.
Same. Y'all are going down.
All right, Rob. You need to start it off here. What game did you get? And then also, we also got to mention that we're going to present these games, and at the end, our producer is going to rate on which one of these is his favorite, which he will get 3 points. Second favorite, 2, and least favorite, 1. And then the one of us won't get any points at all. Usually, the person who doesn't have a sci-fi game, which is usually me. But this time I do. I promise.
All right. Well, as upset as I was to break into my message, I do. Mine's actually a tie, and it was a very hard tie to break. But these are actually two of my favorite games in my collection for a particular reason. The first one, Defenders of the Realm. Can you see that?
You keep disappearing.
You keep disappearing.
Defenders of the Realm, and the second one, Mice and Mystics.
Mice and Mystics. Okay.
Two very popular sci-fi fantasy games.
I was gonna say.
I was going to say, this sounds more like fantasy than sci-fi.
Well, if you were to get a book on either one of those games, what section would you go to in Barnes and Noble? Huh?
Fantasy.
No, there's no fantasy section in base. No, seriously. A lot of this is not just for the mechanics and the game itself, but for the family time that it's provided. Mice and Mystics has given me Mice and Mystics. It's a dungeon crawl with mice that are mystics. So you're playing like itty bitty mice and rats, and you're battling spiders and all sorts of tiny little creatures on a it's a dungeon crawl. It's a card game based dungeon crawl by one of my favorite designers, Jerry Hawthorne. It's from Flat Hat Games. He's designed a lot of these games, some expansions to that. Down with Tales, I think, is another one. He did a really cool not space game, but flight game, kind of like Memoir 44, I think, called Tail Feathers, all in this universe. And it's something that got me bonding with my children. Two of them that are now in college. And was the story-driven aspect of it is really neat. The mechanics are really cool. Again, you're going into the dungeon. There's so many different chapters to the game. Artwork's really fantastic. Defenders of the Realm was another one that it was cooperative, and it's a big popular game around our house, or cooperative games. And it's very reminiscent to Pandemic. It's you're popping little things on the board, but instead of diseases, they're dragons and miniature, different hobgoblins and creatures, and they're all coming and marching forth into the center city to destroy it. And if they all get there, then the game's over. And so you've got different powers, and you're leveling up your character, and you're going around and destroying the different monsters, and it's you're battling it, so you're not just going through and removing cubes, but you're rolling dice, and it adds a new mechanic to that, and that I think is really good. And again, was something that got my family and my kids to the table enjoying it. So both two games, they're kind of tied, and mainly because of the family interaction.
Rob, I gotta say, hold on, I gotta say this.
Oh, I gotta go.
You have kept the spirit of random task alive and well, but you have trumped all of us, because not only is your games not sci-fi, you picked 2 games that are not sci-fi.
Again, there's sci-fi fantasy. There is no fantasy section at Barnes and Noble. It's sci-fi.
So,
Uh-huh.
so listen,
Sci-fi and there's fantasy sci-fi.
Hey, Rob.
Rob.
Did
all
you
right.
say the guy that made Mice and Mystics? You said he made another game, and you said it was or was not a space game?
It was not.
Oh, that's too bad, because if it was, that would have been a good one to put in this category. But that's too bad.
All right.
Andy, go ahead and interrupt. What do you got?
Okay, here's the deal, Rob. I was willing to give you a pass because you're new to the show here, and you picked the wrong category. Then you took 2 games, and I'm like, okay, I'm a graceful guy, but you struck out, my friend. You struck out when you said you liked cooperatives, and you compared it to Pandemic, which is the most trash-based game ever. So you have lost.
Pandemic.
You have lost all respect from me, sir, and I have spoken.
All right.
Anyway,
That is not the
No,
way.
I want to do a little behind the scenes here. So Rob, in his fairness, he goes, when we talked about this, he goes, hey, so
Yes.
sci-fi, what do you mean by that exactly? And I said, save it for the show, John, or Rob. And
Yep.
I knew immediately the direction Rob was going to go. So Rob, I appreciate your good spirit because I knew you were going this direction and I chose not to correct you.
The only other thing would have been picking a Star Wars game, and we've talked about them all. So
Well,
my favorite games
I
are.
beg to differ. I beg to differ.
Who the heck would pick a Star Wars themed game? As their favorite game, sci-fi game. I mean, it's kind of chintzy to do that.
All
I
right,
guess we'll find out.
let's find out. Let's go to me now. It's my turn, Rob. That's right.
All right,
Bring
please
the
go.
the Boba Fett. No, Boba Fett's not a Mandalorian. Bring me on the screen. That's right. Okay. So here's the deal. I will correct you immediately. There are great sci-fi games that are not Star Wars games, and I picked one. I could have picked many. I could have picked Race for the Galaxy is a great game that I've played for years. I could have picked Eclipse, which is a fantastic game. Some people call it Twilight Imperium Light, Twilight Imperium. I could have picked any of those, but what I chose to pick is a lesser-known one somewhat from a great game designer, and that would be Vladimir Suchi of fame from Last Will and Prodigal's Clubs and Underwater Cities, but I picked Pulsar 2849. If you haven't played Pulsar 2849, you are missing out. It is a fantastic game. It's got a little bit of everything in it. It's got a little bit of exploration. It's got a little bit of unlocking different achievements and many different paths to victory. It's really a fine game, and that is my one of my top sci-fi games in my collection, Pulsar 2849. It is not Star Wars, and it is sci-fi.
Do me a favor. Pull the game up again real quick. I want to show you
Sure.
something. 2 things. Up a little higher. Up a little higher. See that seal of excellence? Guess who designed that?
Well,
I actually created that seal. It's kind of cool to see that when you go into a store. And,
Well, very good.
Completely unrelated, but I also know somebody that has a really cool insert for that game.
Do you?
okay.
That'd be awesome. I don't know what's kept me from playing Pulsar 2849 because it looks like a really good game. Doesn't it have dice placement? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Yes, you do have that element.
Yeah, I always love dice placement games, so I don't know why I haven't gotten that play.
You got to give it a try, and it's a cool board too because it's this
Yeah.
big round board. It is a bit of a table hog, but it's a fun looking board.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, you probably never played it because it's completely themeless, John. You would hate
That's
it.
probably
much
what
like
it is.
Viticulture.
It
That's
is
probably
not
what it is.
themeless. You have
All right.
pulsars.
What is a pulsar?
Look it
There's
up in
no
your
theme in
science
that
book.
game. That game could be called, like, I don't know, Trading
Pulsar
in the
Wars.
Mediterranean. It would be the exact same mechanics. So
Whatever.
Pulsar 2499 is just trading in the Mediterranean in space.
Okay,
Daniel, what do you got?
It's a game that's not trading in the Mediterranean in space, but it is instead reflects one of the greatest science fiction IPs ever. And I'm not talking about Lord of the Rings, Rob. I'm talking about Battlestar Galactica. That's right.
Oh my
This bad boy right here is the granddaddy of all, not only sci-fi games, but games of IP that are of merit and quality. This game had introduced hidden mechanic or a hidden trader mechanic like no other game had done before. It introduced this fact that an IP game doesn't have to be just rubbish. Instead, there was an actual game in here full of tension and suspense and cooperation, but not complete cooperation, because if you trust somebody too willingly, they will betray you, much like Andy in any Euro game, and any attempt he can, he'll just backstab you, even if you think things are going well.
I'm always a Cylon.
That's right. So Battlestar, you get to play one of the characters from the movies. You get a unique power, and then you get to move around the ship, trying to defeat the Cylon fleet, while also trying to get to find Earth so you can repopulate a new planet after those bloody, dirty Cylons had destroyed all of humanity. And yet they still want you to make, like, they want you to have sympathy for the Cylons, which is always a weird thing. Like, yeah, robots are kind of enslaved, so you should feel bad for them. It meant genocide, people. There's never a good Cylon. Kill them all. Genocide them back. That's what I have always said.
So Daniel, I got a question for you about that game. All right. So,
What's that?
I've heard good. I've never played it, and you know what? I thought it. I know enough about it being the hidden trader mechanic, and I always thought that fit well, with Battlestar Galactica. But but now they lost, I think, the IP, and what is it? Unfathomable.
Yeah.
So have you played that? How's it compare? Is it?
I haven't played it. I heard it's very similar though. But the whole idea of the H.P. Lovecraft cult-ish behavior, like you don't know who is in a cult, because he could look as normal as Andy is right there. That person could just be on the ship, looks completely innocent and nondescript, but he could actually be a cultist who is attempting to bring down the entire ship to sacrifice it to the Great Old One. So from all what I've heard, it plays almost identical. So there might be some changes, but I've never played it myself, so I can't really compare the two.
Pull it off.
What's that? Yeah,
I always thought the Cylon theme would pull it off a lot better. Probably much better.
Cylon's theme works just super well, and it's really exciting. So, but hey, that's enough of the producer's number one pick, and we'll hear the runner-up potentially here. So, John, what game do you have?
That was a man. Once I saw you bring that up, I'm like, there we go. Let's get one of Randy's favorite games on there. That's a tough one to follow. But
for those of you who have never joined our show, it is a common thing for some players to suck up to our judge behind the scenes.
Yes.
And by some players, I mean the guy in blue.
Yes.
Do you remember when I picked Gloomhaven as a Rondell game and I got 0 points? That's one of Randy's favorite games. He gave me 0 points for it. So I want to hear you guys all talking about me stucking up to the thing. What we should be talking about is Chris's Nexus Op Avalon Hill as a mass market game, and he got points for that nonsense. That was.
I think it's just funny that, Daniel, you said that Andy looks normal, and here we're going to the guy wearing tinfoil on his head.
There we go. That's normal as well. But I preferred my Cylons when they were silver and shiny, and you knew which ones they were. So that was the good Cylons back in the day. But for me, I picked the best sci-fi game to come out in I don't know how long, and that is the perfect, amazingly presented It's a Wonderful World, where we talk about a wonderful world in the future. This world is amazing.
All right, guys. I feel a little bit better.
This world.
You should feel better too, Rob.
How is this not sci-fi?
I don't know. Explain to us. How is it sci-fi? Go for it.
It's exactly sci-fi. What are we talking about? You got the space elevator. You got the underwater city. You're developing all these things. You got the lunar base. This is a sci-fi game. Offshore oil rig. This is all perfect, nice, fun, awesome stuff and a beautiful future. The secret society, the universal vaccine, security automatons. I mean, come on. You got your...
It looks like it's going pretty dystopian to me.
Airborne laboratory where they just spray you with stuff. That's great. It's an amazing and wonderful future. Yes, It's a Wonderful World. Amazing game if you haven't played it. I mean, it's an engine builder that ramps up quickly. You got to get your engine going. By that fourth turn, you got to just have it producing for you. And it's a little bit of pressure to get it going, and you have to be able to zig and zag just a little bit in the game to get it going. But if it doesn't work, hey, it's a quick game and it's over and you can try it again. So love it. I love that game. Funny thing about this game, I would love to hear if anybody else has this problem. The first teach, especially with people that are established gamers, can be tough because of the way the resources work. Daniel, am I right or what? Because people get these, they're like, oh, I'm this, oh, so I produce these. They start grabbing cubes already. It's like, no. Hold on, put those cubes back. That doesn't happen now. you produce when the thing says you produce, and it takes, I would say, half the game sometimes for this to kick in with some people. And so it's simple, but it's different. It's different than the way a lot of games are where you produce things. You're just looking at the thing, give me all my stuff. No, you don't get all your stuff all at once. So in that sense, be prepared for a lengthier teach than it should be for a game this simple, but it's a wonderful world, amazing game, and it's sci-fi.
So I'm going to have to agree with Rob here and Daniel a little bit. This seems science-y, but it doesn't necessarily seem fictional.
Oh, I mean, because we have underwater cities.
Well, okay, but
I gotcha.
When I think of fiction, I think of something really ridiculous.
We have lunar bases. That's right. I forget. And a space elevator where you can just take it to the moon. You're right. I'm sorry.
6 cards out of what? 800 cards in the game?
No, that's just the ones I picked out. Every one of them.
Yeah, I know.
I just grabbed them randomly.
Okay.
There's nothing in this game that we actually have except for like an oil rig.
Is there a Louis Armstrong card in that game?
What's that? Why? Because he's on the moon?
No, it's a wonderful world.
Oh, I thought you.
Hey, Andy, good. I got good news for you. I think your number 2 is in the bag. The real question is going to be who's going to get 1, Rob or get number 3, Rob or John. It's going to be a tough
Whatever.
one.
Let's see what Randy
All right,
says.
guys. All right. Well, let's hold up our game. That's what we do. We hold up the game that we have, and we're going to listen to our producer, and he's going to tell us, Producer Randy, who got the 3rd best game?
3rd place, Daniel.
Wow.
You don't know. I'm convinced that he does this to me on purpose. Dang it.
Sucker!
All right, Randy. Who's
got number 2?
2nd place, John.
John at number 2. All right.
That'll work.
It's not even sci-fi.
It is. How is that not sci-fi?
And number 1?
1st place, Andy.
That's right. My themeless Euro wins again.
You seriously picked a themeless Euro after the biggest. I mean, I would pick Rob's game over Andy's game. Andy's game could have been anything. It could have been fantasy. It could have been modern times. It could have been anything.
Dude, my game is
I'm
awesome.
outraged. I am outraged.
You race your ship through the galaxy. You start pulsars. You do all these cool things, man. It's great.
Rob, I really was rooting for you. I thought you had it in the bag after these two.
I went right to Board Game Geek to look up these definitions of these games, and I'm disappointed.
Yep, I'm disappointed for you, Rob.
Disappointed in Board Game Geek?
No,
I see what he did there. He's disappointed.
Oh,
I don't understand what that meant.
Me either.
All right, guys.
Whatever.
Rob, I know you had a big announcement, but I'm sorry we ran out of time, and we got to just end this show and get straight to the who won. And despite the actual atrocity of me losing to Battlestar Galactica to Pulsar 25,926, whatever nonsense it is, despite that, I still came in first, with John as a close second, Andy falling behind, and Rob unfortunately didn't fare very well in the board game theater. So, and also doesn't know what sci-fi is. So, but because Rob is the guest of honor, instead of me taking my 2 minutes to continue my ranting about how horrible of a producer Randy is, I am going to give it to Rob. Rob, please take it away and let us know what's on top of your mind. Any hot takes you have or anything you just need to get off your chest. Go for it.
All right, guys. What's on my mind? Well, you know what? I think the biggest thing on my mind was just a wonderful time I had just a couple weeks ago or 1 week or 2 weeks ago at FBCCon. That was a fantastic time. I know last year I came mainly for the auction. It was kind of a last minute thing, but this year I hung around, got to spend some time with some friends. I did have some things in the auction, but mainly got to play some board games. I got to play Star Wars Unlimited with my son. He's really into it. We've been playing a lot of that. We were playing Magic, but now he's built a Princess Leia deck that kicks my Darth Vader deck's butt. She's doing really good. Been really into Dune. Dune 2 came out not that long ago, and made me, I've seen the original '84 movie. I've seen now the sci-fi series, both the original Dune, and they've got that Children of Dune three-parter. And now, having just seen Dune 2, I started reading the books, and I'm on, I think, the third or fourth book of that series, and came back to play Dune Imperium Uprising. I know that, and Arnak were both, those two games that were all about worker placement, deck building, and I kind of had put Dune in the back shelf, because I thought it was more about conflict. And finally, they have an app for it that came out on the iPad, and I started playing that. And I'm like, man, I was kicking myself for not having played that. The conflict is just so minor in that, and so I really have been enjoying. I've been on this Dune kick, and actually, I came out with an insert for Dune Uprising. So which kind of gets into my inserts. That's something that always keeps me busy. Insert here. We've got insert organizers for, over 500 different board games. And I probably won't have it at the time this releases, but we just gave away, I think, a copy of Daybreak in the insert. I think we were giving away a couple different games. There were like 3 or 4 different games that I had a giveaway going on, a contest, a big coupon. And so the inserts have been keeping me busy, and having kids in college, just getting more time to play games with the other ones that have been going. So yeah, that's about it. The insert here, Dune, making inserts and gaming with these guys too. I'm really enjoying the times that we get to get together and play games.
Well, thanks, Rob. Sure appreciate you sharing some about your life, and we loved having you on the show. It was a blast, man.
Yes, thanks for filling in.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for the job, you guys. And you guys did a wonderful job. Well, 3 of you did a really good job on the FBC Con. It was a really, really good time.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. All right, guys, well, let's finish this out with the way we always do, and that's with birthdays. So I'm going to start it off with the 4-year-old Nidavellir. In 2020, this game of upgrading your chips to get more victory points so that you can get cards out on the display. A very unique game, but anyways, 4 years old, Nidavellir.
I guess I'm going to say happy birthday to Sagrada. I'm not sure why I got Sagrada. Sagrada's got these clear dice. You roll them, you put them on a board. Have fun. 2017 is when it came out. 7 long years ago. Sagrada. What do you got?
All right. Coming up shortly behind that, we've got Lord of the Rings, the living card game. Talking about living card games here. Something that's really good about this science fiction card game is that it's a living card game. It's not collectible. You don't have to invest money in it. And it's you build your decks, story themed, and it's cooperative. Yeah, back in 2011. Happy birthday to Lord of the Rings, the living card game.
And finally, last but not least, Stone Age, one of the original worker placement games, was born on this month in 2008. So let's hear it for Stone Age. Let's all eat a brick in celebration.
Birthday brick.
A birthday brick.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. This was a fun time. Rob, once again, thank you so much for joining us. And Andy, go ahead and take us out.
All right, folks. Thanks again for joining us on the show. We love to hear from you, so please feel free to leave us comments in the old YouTube window there. You can also look us up on various social media. We're all over the place, including our Facebook page, Around the Board. Check us out and drop us an email too if you like, mail@aroundtheboard.net. Until next time, we will see you right here around the board.
Yes.
Oh, that thing was hot. So hot.
Ooh, sweaty.
I'm glad Randy understood that It's a Wonderful World is a sci-fi game. I don't know what else you would call it.
I thought it was a jazz game about Louis Armstrong.
Thank you for watching this clip from Around the Board. If you'd like to watch the full episode, please click on the link down below. Around the Board is essentially a game show featuring 4 board game enthusiasts that discuss board game topics and news in a competitive format. Whoever wins gets to talk about whatever he wants at the end of the show. So please join us, won't you, around the board.